Hey, y'all, guess what? I have a guest with me today, and we are on YouTube this time instead of the podcast. Today, I have Scott Nunes, who is the district engagement advocate. Make sure I get that right for Canva, but he's also a teacher and a podcaster, and he loves technology and teaching. And he's going to share with us today some of the newest features in Canva. And I'm learning along with you. So, this is going to be like my own personal tutorial that I'm just sharing with you. So, I'm super excited to learn. I feel like there's so much out there now. I just haven't had time to keep up with Canva. But thank you, Scott, so much for taking the time to do this with me today.
No, I'm thrilled and super stoked to be able to share all the cool things in Canva. And I'm with you. It's hard to keep up. Like I shared with you before we started, I'm in Canva every day and I struggle with keeping up. So I totally hear you and feel you on that. Just a quick shout out to you and to the listeners. Like, if this stuff is interesting to you and you feel like you want to be kind of where Casey is, where I'm at, doing cool things with cool tools, talking about pedagogy and strategies and things like that, just go for it. I was inspired by Casey in 2018 and Matt Miller and others to go and do just that. And now I'm doing it and I feel very fulfilled. So I have to put that little note and hopefully inspire somebody in the audience to go out and share.
No, I
So,
appreciate that. We talk a little bit about it on the podcast too, kind of our history, which y'all, if you're watching this on YouTube and you haven't listened to the Shake Up Learning Show, episode 183 is our interview. And we talk about Canva, but we talk about a lot of other things too. So if you want to hop over, we'll link that episode below the video as well. But Scott, just to give everybody a little bit about your background, I always appreciate the fact when someone is working for a company but has been in a classroom because you know what it's like for teachers. To me, I lose all faith in people who have no experience as a teacher. So can you tell us a little bit about your experience so we know where you're coming from?
right. It's interesting. In a nutshell, I go way back because it kind of plays into this role. So I taught myself how to code when I was 12, had my own graphic design business when I was 14, failed a ton. And when the economy tanked around 2009, so did my career in graphic design. And I got tired of struggling. So I went on a soul searching, job searching mission and uh, found education. I was coaching. A lot of the parents were educators and said, you know what? You really like this coaching thing. Why don't you just teach? It'll help you pay the bills. It's a pretty good career. There's a really good retirement. No, no, no. Finally, I was at my wits' end. Like, I'm done with this graphic design thing. Like, I don't want to freelance anymore. I need something that's a little more stable with a consistent paycheck. Started taking courses for education, fell in love, was in the classroom for a number of years, and realized early on there's some really great teachers out there. It's going to take me a really long time to be a great teacher like those folks out there. So I need to kind of, shake it up, borrowing from you a little bit there and play to my strengths. So I played to those technological strengths, really got into ed tech, actually started or did my first ed tech presentation before I was formally a teacher, which is kind of cool. Presented on Google. So that was really neat. And that inspired me to just keep sharing and built up that skill set, would go to conferences, present, shared a lot on Twitter, just totally engrossed myself in podcasts and webinars like this to learn even more and to upskill, and then got to a point to where I started becoming an expert in some areas, became an instructional coach, and I went from supporting over 100 tools to supporting this one great tool, Canva. So that's my journey, y'all.
No, I think that's awesome. And when you told me that you were working for Canva, I got really excited because Canva is something I've used for I don't know how many years. I've had Canva Pro for many years. And pretty much if you see any images created on my blog, in my courses, in my presentations, I made them in Canva. And when they started rolling out Canva for education, I was like, okay, what's this? What are we going to do with this? And it has really grown into an interactive space too. And I'm really excited to see where that side of things start to go, so that that can support our teachers and students too.
100% about supporting teachers, students, and growing. I like that you mentioned the collaboration piece. I'm all about the four C's, shared it out far and wide in my instructional technology position. And now I get to showcase that here within Canva too. And you mentioned that it's free just for educators. We've created over 70,000 templates, and there's a bunch more coming. I'm blessed to have been able to preview some of the stuff that's coming soon. So stay tuned. I can't say when it's coming out or what it is, but there's more Canva goodness. And we are 100% free. Yes, free for all K-12 educators. And then you're able to invite your students in. Or better yet, if you're able to bring in your whole school or district, you get a district engagement advocate like myself. Feel free to reach out on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, or Facebook at Mr. Nunes Teach. I'll respond back, or you can email me at snunes@canva.com. And I used to tell my students rhymes with tunes because it's the Portuguese version. There's no tilde over the end, so it's not Nunes, not Nunez. It's okay if you mess it up. I get it all the time. But snunes@canva.com. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you have, let you know what we need. It's a pretty simple, pretty fast process. And then with that, you get our highest content level features right now. You get access to millions upon millions of photos, graphics, audio files, and video files as well. Any idea, Casey, how many millions of content assets there are in Canva? Take a wild guess.
I don't know. It's got to be in the tens at least.
Yeah, it's actually like 100x a million. So over 100 million assets in our content library. So I love to share. If you can dream it, you can really create it in Canva. I was having a fascinating conversation with my buddy Randall, and he put it simply as this: Canva really allows people to put what's in their brain into a program. So if you can envision something, that's half the battle. You just then need to find a complementary template or graphic to help actualize your vision. So it doesn't take a lot of time. It's not a lot of hard work. It's very simple, intuitive, yet really powerful. Here's a piece that my friend Morgan did. She had to prepare a poster for a health services fair at her site. And she took our little template on the left and then completely transformed it on the right. She has no graphic design background. This took her all of 5 to 10 minutes, and she didn't need any help. And honestly, in my opinion, as a graphic designer, I think her version looks even better than our already good templated version. So not
Yeah.
only did she make it hers, but she was able to enhance it. I like to think of our template library as a set of educational scaffolds, right? Whenever you're teaching a new skill and you're kind of teaching across the board to meet the needs of all of the learners in the classroom, scaffolds are a great way to do that. And then you can gently and slowly and easily remove those scaffolds. So, to kind of finish off that analogy, the scaffolds here would be the different graphics. So you can initially start with the template, but then as your skill level goes up, start swapping things out more and more, like Morgan did here in this example. And then you can even start designing once you feel like you have that eye for design and you have a really good sense of balance and alignment, which we'll actually talk about a little bit today. Then you can go on and just completely go off the rails and create something completely new, sign up for our Canva creator program and share out.
Yeah, and I think that template thing is something that can't be undersold. You know, teachers love templates. If I put anything with the title of template on the blog, I know teachers are going to flock to it. They need that to save time for themselves, and they need that for their students to save time. You know, we've all been through those headaches of kids spending way too long on the wrong things, and we're just trying to focus on content. And I think that's what a template allows us to do, is to focus on the things that are most important in our classrooms.
100%. We're able to reinvest those instructional minutes into formative feedback. We're able to maybe just take a breather, take an extra sip of our water, our coffee, our beverage of choice, or just relax a little bit more, especially after the last few years we've had. Teaching in the pandemic has been no joke. Um, it's been quite the challenge. We've been kind of forced to adapt, strike, pivot, and do some educational jujitsu, if you will. And it's nice to have a Canva or a tool like Canva come in and help us with our workflow. That leads me to a quick piece. I used a tool like Canva when I was in the classroom to further get my time back. I used to spend about 18 hours correcting 150 essays. Anytime I assigned an essay, had to assign an essay at least once a quarter, but usually probably about two a quarter. So that's a lot of time that was being sucked up. And thanks to Catlin Tucker, Alice Killer, and some others, I learned, hey, if I digitize all this, create like a comment bank and use comments that are already like prescribed in a program and do it in a digital tool so I can share it out to the LMS or gradebook, I can vastly improve my workflow. And Canva lends itself very well to that too. So I want to showcase some things today that will help you improve your workflow as well. And when we get into the program, remind me, Casey, and I can showcase some things we can do with folder organization. So if you have a favorite element or a favorite template, how do you go about saving that, storing it so you can find it later and
Yeah, I need that.
maximize your time? Yeah, because that's big too. I'm all about saving time and making things easier, but I have some really cool stuff to go over. So as you're saying right here on the screen, what's new? So this is just a taste of some of the new stuff that has come out recently in the last 6 months or so within Canva. Most of it is very recent, but there are some gems in there from a little while back that I wanted to include as well. So I'm going to skip over that one. Talking about presentations, this is probably our number one used feature within education, our presentations. And what's really neat, I just used this weekend. I lost my little clicker. I had a cool little Logitech clicker. And I'm like, oh, wait, we have magic shortcuts that we can do on our phone. So in order to use this, here, I'll talk about this a little bit. What you can do is these left and right buttons, this will determine if you move forward or backward in your presentation. And these little magic shortcuts will do cool effects like I can hit D for drum roll. I can do B for blur in here. I can do M for a little mic drop moment. Well, now, oops, double mic drop there. Now I can do that right from my phone. So to be able to do that, you just go into your presentation, and you hit this more button, and then select share remote control, and then copy this code and email it to yourself. So I email it to an email that I can access on my phone, or I'll find some way to share it to myself, and then I can pull it up on my phone. And then now I can go through my presentation on my phone. This is really nice because in most cases that I've seen in many classrooms, there's like a centralized area for teacher's device and for their projector or TV or however they're sharing out the technology. that's on the screen. Could be a smart board. Well, what if you need to walk away? This magic remote is a fun way to do that because you can add in all these effects. But if you're not using that remote, you can come over here in your presentation, hit these magic shortcuts. You can memorize these things. There's a little timer. Um, there's a little curtain roll, which is nice if you want to emphasize the beginning or end of something. Or what I really like is a quick little timer you can hit. You can either manually come in here and hit the timer, or you can hit the numbers on your keyboard. So if I want I think I got to click into this, a 3-minute timer, I just hit the number 3 while I'm in a presentation, and it goes up to 9 minutes. So my one thing I wish that this did was wish it had a 10-minute timer. uh,
Yeah.
so that
That's
would
super
be
cool. Teachers use and love easy timers.
right. So if you need a timer, you got your handy dandy timer right there. This is definitely an educator feature request, the ability to download your notes. So if you're presenting somewhere, you're a little old school like me, and you want your notes in your hand, there's something very comforting about that, or just having it nearby on your desk to go back through. You have that. Or if you're doing something like this, maybe you want to have your notes on a stand. Maybe you don't have multiple screens to kind of do that. This is a great way to do that. So be sure to share those feature requests. You can now easily import items into Canva. So all your tired old PowerPoints, PDFs, things like that, you're able to bring those into Canva and quickly dress them up. So that's really neat. I like that. I use a technique or a feature rather called styles to quickly apply a new style to it. So I can quickly brand it with my school colors, possibly. That's one way I'll do it. I'll use a school brand kit and quickly change everything on there to, let's say, my mascot's an eagle. I can put that eagle logo in there, and then the colors are red and white. It'll instantly change all the colors in the changeable places to red and
And
white, which is
where is
really
that?
neat. So let's jump out of this. Let me show
Okay.
you where
Sorry,
that
I
is.
don't I
So
didn't know if you wanted to go out and show it, but because I
no,
can use
let's
that
jump
too.
out and show it. So if you go to design here, first you'll see the templates tab. So you can search for a template here. Or if you go to styles, you'll see I already have my Canva brand kit. So let's pretend this is a school brand kit. I can quickly apply those colors, and I can do it to a single slide like I did here, or let's kind of back out of this presentation. Let's see if it won't let me do it when I'm in that mode, but I'll apply this. I'll apply to all pages. It'll take a moment, but look, now it's applying that brand kit to everything all the way through. I'm going to go ahead and undo that. And let's say you don't have a set brand kit like that. You can come to the color palettes and do that. Let's say I don't want this shade here. I can cycle through these. Ooh, I kind of like that. That's pretty fresh. You can also do a font set, which is neat. So you can change all the fonts. And what I love about this is these fonts have been paired to go well together. This is an area I was very weak in graphic design. I knew the basics, but I was by no means a typography expert and would put fonts together that I knew didn't look quite right, but I couldn't figure out which ones to go. This has taken out all the guesswork. So all of these have been professionally paired together, or you can go ahead and do a combination of a color palette and a font set, like right here. And all of this just looks great. Let's say I don't like that shade of green. I can cycle through. I want a lighter color for the background. There we
I
go. That's
never
what I'm
noticed
looking
this
for.
was here. Scott, you don't
Yeah.
want to know how much time I spend when I use a template going and changing it into my brand colors, which I love that I have my palette right there because I do have those saved. I didn't know it was this easy though.
Yeah. Game changer. And then if you have your logo if your district has it. So there's two different types of accounts. There's the individual Canva for Education account. Then there's the district one. The
Okay.
district one is like where you want to be, because then you can quickly, easily communicate and collaborate. Additionally, if you have rostering capabilities, all of your classes are created for you. It speeds everything up
And it's still
so
all
much.
free at the district level
Still
too,
all
right?
free, and then
Yeah.
you get some other things. So if you jump on a call with me or district engagement advocate, we'll let you know some of those other benefits, and possibly even some trainings. We'll definitely hook you up with a ton of resources, all these decks. We'll send out regular mails and newsletters for you as well, so you can have access to the top new features. So it's nice. You're kind of in the Canva family officially. Not that you're not if you're an individual educator. And that's why we have those out there, but we go the extra mile when we bring in the district family.
Can I ask a quick question too about that?
Please.
Does that automate like the creation of student accounts in some way?
It can through rostering, exactly.
Okay.
So if you use the
Okay.
rostering feature, we use for those who are on the technical side a little bit more. We link up really well with one roster. So ClassLink is a great one. Uh, a lot of the SIS systems, so Power School.
Yeah.
Uh, don't quote me on this. I think maybe Aries, Infinite Campus. We're kind of getting more into that. And if not, we do have a tool that we use a lot, GG4L, Global Grid for Learning. We foot the bill for that one, so we can bring in rosters. And if not, there's some other ways we can do it.
Yeah.
Usually with the smaller districts and schools, we may not roster, but
Yeah.
um,
No,
for
but
the
that
larger ones,
alone, I mean, in terms of just taking some of the burden off of teachers who are trying to do it without, their whole district on board, this is a great reason to get everybody on board.
absolutely. And it's not a heavy lift. Actually, I was going to wait for this part, but since we're already out of the program, let's do that Stump Scott thing I was telling you about, where you tell me, Casey, a certain doc type. I'm going to look it up in our content library, and then you're going to give me some parameters, some colors, give me some ideas for images you want to see in there, and some quick verbiage. And I'm going to go ahead and create that document in 2 minutes or less.
Okay. Okay. Let me see.
So think about it for a moment. I know you weren't ready. I put you on the spot. So I'm going to give you some examples. So I might do a book cover. I might do a social media graphic. I might do a presentation. We have Day King, Martin, Martin Luther King Day. Forgive me, folks. Have a young toddler and was up late last night, so I'm mixing my words there. We have that great holiday coming up, so we could do a presentation or a poster as well.
Okay. Well, one thing that I know I need to learn more about is video. So, how quickly could you create, say, a video with district logo and colors and images and bring that together?
Let's find out. I've never done that. I don't know if I could do that in 2 minutes. Let's find out. Okay, so I'm gonna do a district logo. I'm going to do it as a video. What colors do I need?
Let's go blue and gold.
Blue and gold.
That's my high school colors there.
Okay, and what kind of video are we doing?
Um,
Or do you want to do like a one word? Do you want to do like a sports highlight? Uh,
yeah,
back to
like a
school.
highlight, like a Hypereel kind of thing.
Okay, highlight, Hypereel. Okay, so I'm going to do that. You got your timer ready? I'm kind of looking down. We'll see. Okay, you got me, Casey. You let me know when you're ready. I'm going to type in
Go.
video, get that ready. Okay, let's go here. Okay, looking at video templates. So my strategy here is to look and see if I can find blue and gold already. I kind of see this one. kind of like that. That's kind of, yeah, I'm going to just jump in and still this. And hopefully I can change the background to blue. If not, yeah, it's that video. Okay. We're going to look at elements here. Let's type in blue. And we're going to look at videos here. Okay, that's going to be great. I'm going to go ahead and blue background. There we go. Okay, so I got my blue background. I'm going to offset there. I need some gold. Let's do gold glitter. Let's get some glitter going on. Here we go. I'm going to make this transparent a bit. I'm going to stretch this across. So I got my blue and gold there. I could always adjust. I can crop this a little bit. See how that looks. That's a little funky. What I can do is I can move this back. I can change the position, move it to the back, make this one a little transparent. I want that to show up. It's still looking funky. You really did give me a zinger here.
Sorry.
Here, no, hey, this is good. This is good here. And I'm going to go to text. I'm going to change this color to gold here. Let's say this is the proper gold color. And I already forgot. What topic are we focused on our video?
I didn't actually give you a topic. We can say sports.
Okay.
Basketball. It's basketball season.
Fix some typos here. Okay, so this one will take just a touch longer. Usually when you're doing a video, you don't want it to go too long when you're switching between clips. So about 3 seconds. So I'm going to kind of set that up. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to find a basketball video here. And it should just click in. Put that there. Okay, I'm going to shrink this clip. I'm going to let it play for a couple of seconds. I can come over to these 3 dots, duplicate this, add in another clip here. I could grab a different portion. I can come here and grab the front of this and shrink down the front. Maybe I like this part a little bit better. And then what's really neat, I can come in between here, add a transition. My favorite one is match and move. Just really like that transition. I'll add a couple of here. Definitely went over a couple minutes. I think we're at 4 minutes on my count here, but let's see what this looks like. So basketball sports reel. So I don't have any footage at all. And I have a quick little clip. I recommend a call to action at the end of your video, something for the audience to do, or leave them with a message for them to kind of chew and reflect on. So maybe I'll put like, hey, it was a great season. Be sure to sign up for next season, or come out next season and cheer us on, that kind of thing. So that's a quick glimpse. And what I would do with this, I think I'll just go right into to my little Hypereel that I have here. I have an example. I'll kind of play this from the beginning here. Oh, let's grab this. So I have this little template that I drew up. We'll watch it for about 30 seconds, and then I'll kind of explain the parts that are going on here and deconstruct it so that you can feel empowered. You're going to see a lot of stuff going on and be like, hey, Scott, I don't know if I can do this. Well, you can. And I'm actually going to share this template with you so you can add in your pieces. I want to show this and pause when it gets to the frame portion, because that's one of the quick and easy wins you can have with Canva videos, just setting up a bunch of frames, use it as a template, and come back and fill it again. So I have a little welcome message in there. And all of these transitions, or most of these, are that cool match and move. It basically takes something from one frame and the AI looks to find it in the next frame. So right here, this yellow piece, it just moved from slide to slide there. And I'm going to pause right here and jump over to this. So we were here on this slide. I have a match and move transition right here. So I clicked on it. I can see it's doing match and move. I'm not doing anything fancy. You can see the duration is 0.2 seconds. You want those to be pretty fast, probably no more than half a second would be my recommendation. If you look here, I'm following that rule. My clips are under 3 seconds. And what I've done here is just grabbed little backgrounds. I made these little blocks, just rectangular shapes, put colors on them. And then I grabbed or had multiple frames in here. Let me show you where you can get these frames. You can go to Elements, type in frame or frames, and come over here. And what a frame is a constructed shape that you can then put an image or video into. So if I wanted to do the theme of basketball again, I could come to my basketball videos, could then put in a couple videos. I could then put in some pictures. I'm going to jump to this one here. And as you're adding things in, if the videos are longer, it's going to change how long the time is. So here, it elongated each of these to 9.9 seconds. I'm going to shrink them down. I'm going to move the Canva playhead. Let's see what that match and move does now when I play this. Right? So it's very cool what it does. I didn't do a whole lot of work. The AI did all of that. It focused on that frame for me. It looked for that video or that graphic that I had before, and you can quickly transition. And this gives you a high level professional looking video. This is very close to industry standard. You could make a legit commercial or video with this just using Canva B-roll. You could supplement with your own uploads. You could make your own videos in here. If you go to uploads, you can record yourself right here within Canva. And you don't need a lot of fancy equipment. Good lighting, which I'm struggling with today as well, makes a big difference. So you can see the difference between my video and Casey's video. That's all lighting. So if you have good lighting, look for natural lighting. I'm indoors and I have my back to a window, so it's kind of weird because there's yard people going crazy out there, so I don't want to be too close to that. But keep that in mind. If you set yourself up for success, you can get some really high-level video and stock footage for your own Hypereels. And I'll share out this template for you. How cool is that, Casey?
Yeah. No, I there's like a million things going through my head right now.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah, I really like that. And those of us who have done video editing in the last 10 or 20 years or know how hard it used to be. I mean, how time consuming, how much hard drive space we had to have. I mean, it's just,
Right.
I mean, it kind of makes me sick to my stomach to even think about how hard I had to work on some videos. And this makes it so much easier. It's cloud based and
Right.
it's all built right there. Now, here's the other thing. Video was always really difficult in the classroom because it's extra time consuming. You know, you would save that video project to be like the one big thing you did at the end of the year when you were done with testing or something like that. But we don't have to do that anymore. Kids can create something in just a few minutes. And what a great skills they're going to pick up. You know, learning how to use these tools and
Right.
learning how that works. And again, tapping into those 4 C's that you keep talking about, you know, getting more creative and learning that. But I like that magic move. That's super cool. But yeah, I still have to edit. I'll be editing this video here. And now I'm kind of wondering, maybe I should be
Mm,
doing it in
maybe try it
Canva.
in Canva, or if you do a little Hypereel for this video, we know
What
where you should
about
be going for sure.
so you can
Maybe
record the webcam. You can record yourself with a webcam. Can you record your screen?
you can record your screen as
Okay.
well. Yeah, so you have full screencasting abilities in there. There's filters. Here, so I'm in this presentation. I won't go back into presentation mode. I'm going to skip over the print stuff. Um, this one's really cool. I should come back to that, but I'm in the video section. So you can do timing on different elements in Canva video as well. That's new. That was a very popular request. Now, for accessibility, there's captions and talking presentations. So that's really nice. You can now remove the background of your video. Let me just go to our little Hypereel here. Let me just add in one of my video uploads here. So I do this little, just call it like a party trick here. Do this little karate kick here. I can go up to edit video and remove background. Yeah.
Wow.
And if the lighting is better, it'll do a better job. So
Yeah.
let's go back. Look at all of this going on, right? So if you set yourself up for success, if I didn't have so many things in the foreground, a lot of those earthy tones that I have in my shirt, I have earthy tones back here with the trees and with the fence. If I didn't have that, then and I had a contrasting background or a white background like yours on the screen, that would bode so much better. And if I jump back to the presentation here, let's click. Here's an example of that. See, there's a lot of contrast in this example between the background and the subject in the foreground. Granted, they have a really good lens on that too.
Yeah.
So it helps the AI. But if you're using your phone, keep that in mind. You know, put the busy background at a distance and get up closer to your subject there, and you'll get a nice clean edge like this. And that's just with one click. You saw how fast it was for me. There's also video adjustment filters. So if you really like Snapchat, Instagram, some of those filters, we have a lot of stuff like that in here. You could do video messages. I love just sending folks a quick message, recording myself, hey, happy birthday, or here's a note of appreciation, or here's your reminders for the week, or internally, my coworkers started doing weekly wins. I think that's kind of cool. That's super easy. Just ask everybody, what's one win for the week? It keeps things positive, keeps things professional. Like, you know, it's about what you're doing at work, but you get a way to share. So there's like this like layering of voices. Everybody's heard and valued. And you can even have it where people take turns every week, just doing a quick little weekly reminder what's going on at the school, in the district, in the department. There's lots of ways that you could swing that with Canva video. And if you have a template, if somebody in the district makes their own template or you use a Canva template, it's really easy. And you saw I can just add in frames here. So let's say this was a template I wanted. I could take these out, TikTok size learning opportunities. That's another fun one. If kids want to do social media type things, but you don't want them to post to social media, right? Because that gets a little scary. Have them do it in a safe environment like Canva. So I'm going to look up frames again. I'm going to pick a nice, tall rectangular frame. It's not quite rectangular, but I'll put a couple here. And then all I have to do is go to my uploads or the B-roll. These were images that I generated using text to image. So just silly, fun images using Canva's text to image right there. And so if things are set up for folks, it makes it so much easier. So your power users can go in and do things. Teachers can start off talking about scaffolds, start off by using frames saying, hey, put an image here, put an image here. But then slowly roll back those scaffolds, and then students will learn about negative space and where to put things. You can do explainer videos. That's great. Have the kiddos do the heavy lifting. Have them explain things to you, and they can do that by inserting a video. They can record themselves. They can use a frame, make it a different shape. They could make it like in a cell phone, in a laptop, or they can come up here to share. There's an option to present and record, and it'll put a little circle for them here. Mm-hmm. And it'll go slide by slide. So it gives you like these little chapters, kind of like in YouTube. It's pretty neat. So I really
and
like
how
that.
Great to record lessons for asynchronous learning and for students that are absent.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you are so right. I want to pause there on that because I call that technique by location. Whenever I was doing an EDI portion of my lesson or talking about building a skill, and it was me kind of, being the imparter of knowledge, if that was my role rather than facilitator, then I would record that not only to have a backup and a record, but I would play that live instead of me saying it. Then I would circulate the room, make sure everybody's on task, see if they need help, answer questions. So there's less wasted time. I'm packing in more, can really instruct from bell to bell if that's a district initiative. Hit those things more easily, give that formative feedback, and then here's what's great too. If you're gone for a day, you need a sub lesson plan. No, just record yourself doing the lesson just like this and give the sub a link, put it on the LMS, however you normally distribute things like this. And then for those kiddos that miss, you get the first 3 to 5 minutes of your class back every day because you're not answering those questions at the door. What did I miss the day before? Because you're always recording those things and you're putting it on the LMS or putting it in a place that is clear, consistent, to where students know you've trained them. Hey, go here, look for yesterday's lesson if you missed it, or you were out for 3 days. Check out the lessons for those 3 days.
And will you show that again just for those who may have missed where it says to record?
I did go pretty fast. So if you go up to share in your presentation, present and record. I'm going to turn off my camera for a moment so it'll show up. Here you go. You'll give the camera permission to record here. Hit start recording. It'll give you a quick little countdown. Hey everyone, I'm Scott Nunes and I'm here to show you all the great new features in Canva. And then I can end recording. I can pause. There are also notes here. So if students are a little trepidatious, it's another scaffold, right? They can look at their notes and see, and then you can train them. Well, look off to the side, look at your notes. They can copy the link, share it, submit it as an assignment, hit save and exit here. They can download just this. and it'll have this in here. If I had gone through my slides, it would also show this image here or this video recording in each slide. So as I'm grading, let's say I'm looking for a particular thing, I can go jump to that slide.
And
Maybe they're reflecting on the hero's journey of a novel, something like the Odyssey, and I just want to jump to the end part and I want to see, hey, did they get the symbolism there? Did they understand how Odysseus grew in his journey? So that'll save you a lot of time too. And then you can just come in here into the assignment, add a comment, let the student know what's going on. You can come and tag them in here as well and say, hey, Jason, you know, great job. I loved what you did with the allegory and the symbolism. You definitely paid attention. And I love the associative images that you included within your presentation to showcase how Odysseus grew over the course of, I can't remember. It's been a few years since I've taught that. I think it's like 20 or 30 years he was gone. It was 20 years. So you could talk about that whole journey, hit comment. You can assign it to them. So when they go into there, they have a little bell notification that shows up that they know, hey, I got to pay attention to this. And if you set up a good system, you can make sure that before they get the summative grade on an assignment, they have to respond to your comments, and creates this awesome feedback loop where they're not surprised, you're not surprised, and parents are not surprised about what's going on in the classroom where their student is. You're really opening the windows to your classroom and inviting everyone in to see the goodness there.
And I caught two things in there that I think will be really important to teachers. One, when you clicked to share that video that you recorded, it said that link was available for anyone who had the link, right? They didn't have to sign in. So if you don't have student accounts, you can still do that and then drop that link, like you said, into your LMS, Google Classroom, whatever you're using. But we're also talking about the advantages of having those students accounts, which is what you just showed right there. Being able to mention and use that feedback feature is something that a student would need to have a Canva for Education account to use, correct?
Absolutely. If
Okay.
you want to be able to tag them, they need to be within that district account. And there are a couple of ways. With some of the smaller districts, they may just have a district account, but generally, if you're a little bit bigger, then you're going to have like your school team. So it's going to have the building name on there. So I'm going to use just schools I'm familiar with, like the Insulin Eagles, and it's going to have them on there. And so everybody who belongs to that school, they're going to go ahead and be able to communicate and collaborate more easily. You could tag the students in there. And so that's really nice. It really helps streamline everything.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, that's a great follow-up. And I mean, we didn't even get into everything that's there. I'm going to kind of just zip through some of these other ideas. You could do
Okay.
a digital story, talking presentations, a documentary. You could add voiceovers. You could do podcasts even. And here's my favorite transition, of course, the match and move. That is where Canva is. And I just want to quickly touch on this one. It's pretty teeny tiny here on the screen, but this is a quick snapshot of every minute of every day of how much time people are spending on social media. So I bring that up because videos are linked to, or videos linked to positive emotions are more likely to be shared. While you may not want students kind of sharing per se everything you're doing, you have to be talking about it. That thing we did in this class was really neat. Here's what we did. Take a look. Or when they're sharing, when they go back home, you want them to be so interested and invested that they do want to share.
Yeah.
That is really the pinnacle of learning, right? Part of learning is not just sitting there and getting it. Part of it is really doing something with it. And if they're able to share and teach somebody else, then you know they really have the material. And that's where you want to get students. So I already went through that live demo. I'll be sure to share this out, but this is a link to that Hypereel template that I showed where you can go in, adjust those frames. It's going to make a copy for you. So you can go ahead, make it your own, change the verbiage on there, change the welcome message. I left some things in there so you can kind of see one advanced feature I wanted to just show you real quick is down the line here in the video. Um, you can get creative with letters. So if you grab blocky letters, you can do something like this, and you can use match and move from one slide to the next to kind of match a letter like I did with this E here. So let's see what kind of happens. I go from let's go here and it pops out. Well, I'm able to make this E so big because it's not an E. It's a bunch of rectangles that I made look like an E, and that match and move, it's looking for similar shapes. And so I was able to use match and move there and show how it, or not show, but make it look bigger and make it a focal point in the video to kind of mix things up and to keep the audience entertained while they're watching the video.
Yeah, that's cool. There's a lot of great effects. And like you said, go grab it, y'all. I mean, just go out and make it your own and play with it and learn and use it to make something cool.
Yeah, make some cool stuff. As we kind of wrap up, is there anything else you wanted me to show or see? I know you have lots of great questions. Is there like a burning one where you're like, Scott, we've really got to get to this thing?
Well, there was one thing that you mentioned that we talked about in the podcast that I think would be good to demonstrate real quick, and that was the is it text to image?
Yes, let's showcase that. So I already have it loaded up here. But if you don't have text to image loaded up, go ahead, go to apps, and it's pinned right here up at the top, and you'll click that. And so what I can do is like, what's something we might want to see? Let's stay on that theme of basketball player dunking in New York City. Um, so I want to see a basketball player dunking somewhere in New York City, and maybe I want them not close up, but further out. So I'm going to frame this and say depth of field. Now, I've never done this. This is live. Sometimes it gives us something great. Sometimes we might need to rephrase things. So let's see. And we can choose our style. There's a variety here. We can do it as any one of these. I have a lot of success when I just go with the surprise me. So I'm going to choose that. This will usually give me a mix, like a drawing, a painting, maybe a more realistic image, and then something a little more abstract. Okay, so this is pretty cool. I'm just going to
Oh,
duplicate
yeah.
this slide for a moment, clear these things out, and drop these images in here.
And this is using AI, right? So it's getting
Right.
smarter every day.
Every day. So I can even put those items into a frame. So if there's an image that does, or let's say you an image for what you want, that's when I'd come over to text to image and try it out. Right. So I have this great scene right here. Very exciting. Having a player getting ready to dunk, and it looks like they're jumping over the buildings and the skyline there, right here, right? This individual just seems to be free floating. But um, if I didn't like these, I could come back, grab this. I could say generate more. I could start again with something fresh and go from there. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
really powerful, but again, simple tool. And it's not hard to find. Canva has a lot of things you can do, but they're not really hidden within a menu, within a menu, within a menu. It's not that kind of program. It's very simple. And I always point users toward the searching ability. So if I'm looking for something, let's search for it here. Let's say, going back to basketball, let's say I do a lot of sports hyperreels and I want to grab this. I can come up to these three dots and I can add it to a folder. I can set up a folder. And the way to do that is, let me, right here on your homepage, you're going to have projects, and then you can add new folder here. And then type in a name. Helps if I can spell.
While you're typing that, can I ask, what's the permissions on these things? So if a kid creates a video, do they have permission to post it, share it, put it on YouTube? What can they do?
That's a great question. So another benefit of the district account, you can go in as a district and say, hey, you cannot post to social media, you cannot post to YouTube, or you cannot import from YouTube or from Giphy, right? You probably don't want kiddos importing from Giphy. It's a pretty cool tool, but you have to have some skills and a filter to use it professionally. So that would be something to really consider. So I've made that folder. You can so on the individual level, like on the individual account, the teacher doesn't quite have that same capability. So it's really on them to observe and monitor what's going on with the students while they're in there. Whereas if you have the district account, you can set it up and then the teachers really don't have to worry about it so much.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I've just heard people talking about, because I know people make t-shirts and sell them on Etsy and stuff like that, and you have to be careful about which elements you're using, that you have the right permission where you can use them for a commercial purpose. So, and I know we probably have a librarian watching who knows all of those media rights and will be asking that question.
What's really neat about that is you can actually use these things for commercial purposes. I mean, we're not like trying to have teachers do their whole side hustle. That's what the paid account's for, right?
Right.
Go get yourself a paid pro account if that's your intention. But let's say you're doing a very cool PBL project like I used to do. I had a student come into Canva, make a logo, put it on hoodies and t-shirts. She sold 60 hoodies, 40 t-shirts in roughly 6 weeks and raised $1,000 for Ronald McDonald House. Some people may say, what's that have to do with English? Well, she had to connect it to Common Core State Standard. She had to present on it, do research. There was market research she had to do about fashion, and then she had to market it to family and friends. And she was able to persuade, right? If we're talking about rhetoric, right? She had to use some logos, ethos, and pathos to convince her audience to buy this, and then go ahead and donate it to Ronald McDonald and like organizations to help support a cause she was passionate about. So she was able to also tie in her community, wrapping it back in with the 4 C's, right? That's what we want.
Yeah.
We want these real world skills. So maybe I would not recommend that necessarily right out the gate, but practice. Start small. Don't start with that big summative project where you're doing something like that, but build on it through quarters 1 and 2. And then maybe quarter 3, you have a summative project that is a little more detailed, and you've built up these policies and procedures and these safeguards and all these fail safes in there and scaffolds for students to use to set them up for success. And there's this trust there to where, maybe you do have them do something like that with district permission. I just wanted to showcase real quick the folder option, if you go here, now that I have that folder created, hit the three dots, add to folder, find the folder you want. You can then add to folder. And that's how you can save a lot of your elements that you find. I recommend, especially when you start finding cool frames, don't just try and remember where you found it or put it in a design. Save it, add it to a folder, maybe call it cool frames to use. And then you'll always know. And you can do a lot with repeating simple frames. So you just need a few in your arsenal and you'll look like a pro.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. And because I have been searching before, I'm like, where was that? I needed to save that.
Yeah. Those are great questions. There's one other feature I said I would come back to. This one can potentially be a game changer. It's the bulk upload feature. Let's see, here we go. Or bulk create. So this is really neat. So what you can do is you can have something like this. You can set up, let's say you're doing science, like first day of school. You want to do a sign for your kiddos to let them know where they're going to sit, or table groups, right? And you have your roster uh, in like a CSV, in like a spreadsheet. You have a list of all your kiddos. Well, guess what? You can then take your design and connect it with that CSV file, and it'll populate this as one doc. And so when you go off to the printer, you can print out all these name tags or signs. This is great if you're hosting an event, maybe a conference, maybe you're a TOSA and you're having like an in-service training and you want everybody to have their little like placeholder. You want to have it where they register and check in, like, hey, grab your drinks, grab your coffee, grab your name tag, and hey, grab your little placeholder, rather than doing that. I don't know what it's called, but that trick where you like fold the paper in like thirds and you make like a little triangle. Just have it
The
done
table
for them.
tent.
Yeah, the table tent. I mean, that's kind of cool because you can personalize it. But then this way, everybody's is looking sharp, because even though I'm a former graphic design artist, my like natural, like, I don't know, like kinesthetic skills, like drawing, especially with markers, is like a bit rough. Like, I don't always come up with the best things, and it can look pretty bad sometimes. And so I get a little self-conscious for those who are not natural artists, using something like Canva, that makes everyone look like a pro and look like an artist, can be really good.
Yeah. And that certificate thing, I know teachers are always asking for easier ways to generate certificates. So
That's
that's
one way
huge.
too. Yeah, if you're doing student certificates, that's a great use, right? You have your list of kiddos in a spreadsheet. Just pull out that spreadsheet, connect it with Canva here, and use bulk create. And now you have their names across all of those spreadsheets. For coaches, at the end of the year, you're giving away their little certificates. Hey, thank you. Um, you have them all there. That would have been great when I was a swim coach. We had like over 100 kids. That took a lot of time, and it takes seconds. Once you have that spreadsheet and you have the design, it's like 10 seconds for it to load. So it saves you a ton of time. And I had a client who is using it for social media posts to highlight senior graduates. So each senior submits a quote, a little bit about them, where they're going off to school, and then they share an image. Well, while the image you still have to associate with the name and place the image in there, you could put a frame, and you upload all those images, and then you're dragging and dropping, and you just go in order. You have the order of the upload match the order of the spreadsheet. So it's a quick just drag and drop, and you're saving yourself a ton of time. And then you could schedule out those social posts.
Yeah, I love that. You have covered a lot, and I know I have my brain's already full. Like I'm done for the day. There's nothing else. I know you probably have a few more things that you wanted to say, but your time is very important. I know we've already taken more of your time than we planned, but I appreciate you so much. I think this is going to be so useful for
Likewise.
so many teachers.
Yeah, and I'm here to help. There's my social handle, Mr. Nunes Teach. Feel free to follow, converse with me, always sharing out good stuff. And then if you're interested in a district account, let me know. I'd be more than happy to give you the Shake Up Learning, Casey Bell, white glove service, right? To extend that to you all as Casey's listeners and make sure that you're well taken care of, that you have the resources that you need. We could talk about onboarding or rollout if there are any like TPAs or EdLaw 2D agreements. We sign those, we look at those. I'm well versed in that. Ask me all the questions. If for some reason I don't know, I know a guy, and so I'll find out for you and get back to you.
Oh, that is awesome. So, so good to see your smiling face and to have you share. You were always welcome to share on Shake Up Learning at any time, Scott. You have been a great friend and colleague over the years, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this.
No, thank you.
Okay, I'm trying to stop the recording, but it's not stopping.